Hi guys, it is Angie with Beauties in the Bigfoot, and I wanted to share a couple things that happened this week. It's Tuesday night, and this past week, and then this week. So we've been having some weather, and as many of you know, I'm a mail carrier, and my route is half subdivisions and then half rural. And that rural part is dirt roads, most of it. So there's one particular road that I go down that was a solid sheet of ice. So I had to crawl down this road when I was delivering the mail. Now, mind you, this road is where I videotaped an arch over a driveway, and I think that was one of my shorts. I'm gonna have to go through and label my shorts, just my shorts and my videos, just so that I can keep track of them. But also, this is the same property where the flag was knotted. I think there were 3 or 4 knots that were made in this flag, and that property has been abandoned for a little minute. So it is also one of the areas that I have not gotten to yet. It's about over 100 acres of woods, and I have one of my customers is a friend of mine, and I had asked permission to go back there and walk around, so I have to get back there and see if I can see any signs. I just haven't had the chance yet. So I'm crawling down this road, literally with my foot on the brake, because I can't even idle without slipping sideways. So I'm literally going probably as fast as somebody could walk. And I'm going box to box, and it's nerve-wracking because you're on ice and you're stopping and you're starting and your truck is sliding and you're trying not to hit a box and you're trying not to go in the ditches, and it's a mess, but it's part of the job. So I get down around to this curve, and I go around this curve, and as I'm coming around this curve, I get my sign that there is a Bigfoot near, and that is a pressure right here in my chest. So different Bigfoot will send different signals to you, like when they're around, to let you know that they're there. Most of the time it's the pressure for me, but sometimes I have gotten a pressure in my head. Sometimes they're accompanied with cold air. It just all depends. This particular time, I felt the pressure in my chest, and I thought, oh, somebody's around. Now, mind you, I've been on the same route for over 20 years. And the Bigfoot, as we all know, they love to watch what's going on. They love to watch what's going on. So I'm crawling around this curve, and Mindspeak comes in and says, "You be careful." And I just said, okay, and waved my hand out the window and said thank you, and continued to crawl, white knuckled because of this ice, mailbox ditches, etc. So I just went on my way, and I thought that was interesting because that's the first time that I've had the Bigfoot in that area Mindspeak to me at all. They've always been really silent, even though I have found many structures, many arches in this area as I'm driving. So I just went about my business, and was thankful that I got on paved roads and out of these dirt roads. So then this week, I'm going down there, and we've had some snow cover this ice, so it was a lot easier to maneuver around this week. And I hear, it must have been oh, I forget what day it was, but maybe it even been yesterday. Must have been yesterday because it was a lot more relaxed and I wasn't white knuckling it. And a lot of times I don't write these things down because they happen so much and I just, you know, it becomes an occurrence to you and you forget to document some things. I gotta get better at that. So I'm driving down there and it's better. I'm still crawling because there's ice under the snow, but it's not like it was. And off on the east side, I hear coming from way back in the woods, this loud, long whistle. It was a really long whistle, kind of like the one that happened when I first had my encounters with the Bigfoot. My first encounter, as a matter of fact, was the long whistle that came through at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then you could hear it going off into the distance like a train tooting their horn. So, but this didn't come towards me. It just stayed steady, and it was probably about 30 seconds long, and you could hear it over my mail truck, and my mail truck's pretty loud. I often think they can hear me coming when I'm coming around there because of the side of my truck, because I've had a lot of the sound of my truck, not the side of my truck, but I've had a lot of customers tell me, oh, I could tell it was you coming by your truck, because they could tell by the sound. My truck makes a specific noise with the engine and everything. So I thought that was very interesting, and that was just a hello, I'm here type of thing. I have no idea. There was no name given to me. I didn't ask for a name. I just said, I hear you. I try to acknowledge when they do things so that they know that I hear them or I see them or thank them or whatever the case may be. This year I have looked and I have not found any footprints in the snow, which that's okay with me. But the interesting thing about that is I have heard the footsteps outside of the back part of my house up on the gravel, which I've talked about this before, and that happens quite frequently. Again, I forget to document sometimes, and I just go about my business and I forget to look out the window. Sometimes I look out the window to see if I can see anything, and of course I cannot. And I do have cameras out there, and where this particular thing is, it should be setting the cameras off, and it's not. But yet you can hear the footsteps, and the cat reacts. The cat hears the same thing that I hear the times that she's in there with me. So that's interesting to me, how you cannot see them, but you can hear them so loudly. And again, I've tried to recreate those footsteps, and I can't even come close to imitating how loud they are. So and there's no footprints out there. There's no footprints out there. So I just find that fascinating, and that just, nudges me again along the train of thought that they definitely are a multi-dimensional being, that they can, or they were cloaked and I couldn't see them in the dark, which is probably what was happening, is that they were cloaked when they were walking through here. And I've heard the footsteps in the front of my house too. I believe it was last week. It might have been the week before. But that time I did not check out the window to look. Because, again, I know he sits in the corner out front. So it was not I need to get better at recording these things and writing them down. I try to remember. And the other thing is I wanted to talk about is sometimes the different Bigfoots, and I believe there are different types of them. I don't think they're all the same. We know there's different colors of them, but there's got to be different, what do you want to call it, brands, different sets of Bigfoot from the different parts of the country. I had an interesting thing happen last night. I had a conversation with an elder, and he initiated that contact. And I'm not gonna get into too much of what he said. But what was interesting to me is he didn't have contact with humans, which I think was why he was here to learn about the humans. The one thing I can tell you that I did tell him is that, you know, you need to realize that not all humans are like me. If you have not encountered humans before from whatever area that you're from, you need to realize that just like you guys, not all humans are like me. There are good ones and there are bad ones. So again, if he is going to interact with humans at any point, he needs to be aware that some are not going to have the best intentions with him. And that just leads me to another thing with their mind speak. It's interesting to me because sometimes the mind speak will be one-to-one, and then other times it will be me mind speaking with all of my family group, the mother, the father, and the child. And it'll be like we're sitting there and we're having the conversation in real time. And yet at other times there have been times where that communication between everybody was not wanted, and it was a private conversation between me and another Bigfoot. So they were able to block the other Bigfoots out from hearing this conversation, which that is fascinating to me because that is a energetic thing to do, and I was not sure that all of them could do that. I know when the one elder came through that was looking for an easy meal, he had blocked Jabi out from me communicating to Jabi because I was literally calling Jabi for help because I didn't know what this, I was worried because he kept trying to tell me, I'm hungry, come outside. So, and then he blocked that communication, then I banished him, and then Jabi came back in, which they're very respectful to their elders too. I found that interesting because Jabi was also involved in that conversation, and the others were involved in that conversation too. So, and it was interesting because I kind of liked it because when he was done, he was just done. He was just like, I'm done talking now. And that was the end of the communication, which is fine with me. You know, having probably been the first communication with a human that he's had, it was probably a lot for him, and it might not have been for him. You know, that might not have been something that he wanted to ever continue. He did what he did, and that was that, which I was fine with that. He was very polite. He was very what do you want to call, matter of fact, which I like. And as I've said before, when the Bigfoot mind speak to you, they do not lie. They tell the truth. I have not come across one that has lied. Let's put it that way. From my experiences, when they mind speak to you, they do not lie. From my experience, I have not come across one that has lied. So, and their energy, this is the other thing, the last thing that I wanted to talk about. The energy, different Bigfoots come across differently energetically. Like the one elder from last night, he brought cold with him. He literally brought cold with him. And he brought a tingling instead of a pressure. It was more like a zap. And it was up here and it was up in through like the back of my head. It was like a zap. So I found that to be interesting because I thought when I couldn't remember when I communicated with different Bigfoots, if I got the same pressure all the time. It seems like I might have. Maybe one time I got like a buzzing in my head. And I believe that was when I was in location 5 and they were doing the infrasound. Because I think that zapping came first and then it like through your whole body. So that was some interesting things that happened to me this week. And it feels like there's one more thing, but I can't remember what it is. So if you guys have any topics that you would like to discuss, leave them in the comments or feel free to email me your stories at beautiesandthebigfoot@outlook.com and we'll discuss them. I'm gonna try to be better at doing talks once a week and doing videos at least once a week. So we will talk to you guys later and have a great Tuesday. And thank you for being on this journey with me and for sharing in my channel. I appreciate you guys.